Oh my God, we're on. We're on. God, if you only knew, ladies and gentlemen, how much time and effort I have been trying to get the hell on the air. And there was no, particular problem. It's just the fact that for some reason my settings or my shit, whatever, was was late to the game, so to speak. So you like my new cap? And I'm not endorsing necessarily CBS Sports. It's just that it's a cap. It looks good. I got my hair whacked again. I have no hair, but I even if I did have hair, I wouldn't like it. And so therefore I just did this. And boy, am I acting as my mother would have said, Richie, you're Michiganer today. So if you don't know what Michiganer is, welcome to the Gentile school where you learn Yiddish. No, or Yiddish school where you learn. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Haven't had any coffee in my erstwhile and very, very rigorous attempt to get on the air. I decided to get with it in case later on I do not have electronic means, and that's important to me to be on the air and talk about things. First of all, a little bit of a better mood. I was somebody really really nice. I got a new television because I broke my other TV. I touched it and somehow managed to basically fuck it up and dent the screen. So I've got this big behemoth, and it was remarkable. They plugged it in. These guys, they got it all set up, and now I feel like a mensch on that front. And what do? I put on HBO, and I was watching. I didn't see all of it, but I saw the Billy Joel documentary. And those of you that know me both professionally and personally and intimately, of which there's very few people, by the way, I'm a huge Billy Joel fanatic. And he talked about in this wide ranging interview documentary. There's one part where he talks about this song that he wrote. He's wrote, gazillion songs. I Go to Extremes. And it's a very convoluted kind of a song. It's heavy duty. You got to go watch it if you can, if you have YouTube or something like that. It's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs. And I didn't know, I had an illusion, I had an idea that this song was a lot about his early life when he was just starting to make it big. And, then he meets Christy Brinkley, for those of you who don't know the Billy Joel story. And he's got a kid, and he's getting all these things happening to him, fame and fortune, and he begins to drink because he can't handle certain things involving the personal relationship, the business relationship, etc., etc., etc. But he does this I Go to Extreme song, and many of you know the song, and I love the song. And when I thought about myself in this sense, I'm not comparing myself to Billy Joel, God forbid. Um, he talks about his life and the volatility and the combustion going off and him not being able to deal with certain things. So he goes on this drinking thing, which gets the better part of his life. And this is when, people think, oh my God, this guy has got Christy Brinkley, this beautiful blonde, and the fashion, and she's a model, and he's doing videos with her and all that. And yet he's got a kid with her and all that. And yet he's absolutely all fucked up, as the term is called FUBAR, FUBAR, fucked up beyond all recognition. And he starts to drink, and then, he gets in the car, and he was having many issues with drinking and driving and having various problems and all that. Boy, do I look like shit today. Jesus Christ, what the hell has happened to me? Anyway, so it's a good documentary. Somebody said it's too long. No, not if you're interested in it, in projects like this. And if you're interested, obviously, in the subject matter, it's not too long. I love watching it. I knew the story about he fired his drummer Liberty DeVito, and he had battles with his very first wife, who basically ripped him off. She took him out to lunch, and boy, did she take him out in terms of the divorce. And this was back in the early 70s. And then he started performing again in Long Island and then all over the place. And then he got, really, really big again around 1970. Yeah, I remember 77 with Big Shot and what was it? Well, of course, Piano Man and all that. And I remember my first Billy Joel concert was in 1977. This is before Glass Houses. This is before his really, really, really huge pop music ascent. And he had Big Shot and, of course, Piano Man and all that. But I thought Piano Man was great. He wrote that in this New York bar. And if you listen to the lyrics, it's very distinctive. It's not the love song and all that waxing nostalgia that you think. But in any event, I'm going to wrap this part up because I know a lot of you are saying, "Oh, fuck Billy Joel. We're not into Billy Joel." Okay. But he's had some issues in life, and then this latest thing with his brain, which hope to God he gets himself okay. And God, I think the guy's going to perform again. I have no idea why, but this guy, if anybody could do it, it's Billy Joel. But in any event, watch this documentary if you can. I was able to really get a glimpse of it. I'll probably watch the whole thing later on, but a lot going on. A lot of people thought it was tongue in cheek what I talked about men dressing like slobs and women looking like, Advent hookers. And all I said was just be simple. Keep it simple. Stupid. It's real simple in that regard. You're here doing it's part of your profession. Just give us the news. And I summoned that a lot of people who want attention, especially women, and men want attention too. They go to these extremes, speaking of extremes, and the women are wearing, look, I'm a guy, I'm a heterosexual. Here they're making a comeback. So it's nice to look at women that have the wear and all that. I don't think I'm being sexist. But when you're in a profession that you just want the news, you don't need fireworks and all this shit. Just give us the news. Don't look like you just got out of a club. The men, quit with the stupid looking tennis shoes. Wear a suit and a tie. Make it simple. And then you don't have schmucks like me commenting on your wardrobe. I miss those days when things were much more simpler and you got the news. And you know what? That got headlines because people just looked at you and respected you. They didn't give a shit if you're a woman that you were dressing like you just got out of the club. And men with the stupid looking shoes, they wore a tie. It was all simple. They didn't have cufflinks. They didn't have the lapel and the handkerchief. Just be simple. Easy does it. I wasn't being tongue in cheek. And no, I'm not Mr. Bob Mackey, but you know what? I'm giving you my opinion, whether you like it or not. And a lot of you are beginning to really, really, really like it. Numbers are off the chart and all that. Howard Stern, who I got in the background here. I guess he got a comeuppance his last shows with Sirius. And look, he's at an age. He ain't doing it for the money anymore. He's got a built-in reservoir of money. He's got more money than God. So he's probably going to do projects. I think, could be wrong, I think Howard Stern is going to make some movies. He's going to make movies. He made that movie, which is the scene in my poster in the back here, Private Parts. I think he could be an incredible director and a movie maker and center it on comedy. Hell, he could be himself. He could do movies. He can act and direct. Now, the thing about Stern, I know a lot of you people don't like Howard Stern. Well, the reason why I think he's funny is because it comes from the heart. He's also very smart. If you go back to 9/11 in New York, Stern was on the air that day, and he saved a lot of people from really going berserk. What was taking place in the city, and what happened with the planes and the terrorism, and people were all, talk about foobarred. In any event, Stern was on the air that day. You can go to YouTube. I'm not giving commercials for YouTube. I'm just saying, if you want to know why a lot of people think Howard Stern is so great, go back to 9/11. Just type in Howard Stern 9/11. He was fantastic. And, some of you may not like him. Some of you will. A lot of you obviously do. So, anyway, that's news in and of itself. Other news. I guess Rupert Murdoch is going to start a New York Post type of a paper out here online, of course, called the California Post. And I am all for it. Absolutely. Look, I piss on the Chronicle every day, and with good reason. Have you ever read the Chronicle lately? Unless you like purple burritos and pink houses in the Mission, the Chronicle sucks. And even when it was good 25 years ago, it sucked. But it had Herb Cain and columnists and Art Hoppe and political satire and interesting news, even though it was dopey and all that. So I'm all for, we have no papers here. LA Times, still decent, nothing near its early situation as one of the most incredible paper that rivaled the Washington Post and the New York Times, which has gone off the deep end, by the way. I don't even read any of those papers anymore. Wall Street Journal, I'll give Murdoch credit. He don't fuck around with it. He left it alone, and it's a good paper. Obviously, it's got a conservative bent, but it's got real journalism, and it's fantastic. And he left that alone. So the fact of the news that he's coming out that he's going to have a New York Post out here, I think is fantastic. We need it because California now, we don't have any really good newspapers left. We don't. That's obvious. So, it's entertaining. I'm talking about the New York Post. It's a tabloid, so you know what you're getting. But first and foremost, they cover news. The Chronicle doesn't cover news. They cover their news. It's a shitty paper. It's always been a shitty paper, and now it's morphed into something even worse. And that includes SFGate and sfchronicle.com. We really don't have a real, legit, forget informative. How about entertaining? How about just giving us some aspect of the news? I am all for and very happy and pleased that the California Post will be out here soon. And I applaud Murdoch. We need something. Otherwise, we'll be stuck with this shit that they call the Chronicle. Oh my God. All right. So we got that going on. It's Wednesday. I'm not going to talk about the weather because that's all they talk about in the Bay Area, as if we didn't have a heat wave. Oh my God. July was cold. Big fucking deal. I've never been in an area where there is so much talk about the weather, even when there's no weather. I kind of liked it. It was kind of cool to be cool, literally and figuratively. Okay. I did a show the other night and I'll rebroadcast it. I kind of am hesitant to broadcast shows that are not about me, that are about something else. But my ego, I hate people that do that, and they think that people necessarily want to, see them and all that. But people have been asking me thousands about what I did the other night, so I'll talk about it. And if you guys want to watch it, you can go on the internet. It's right there on YouTube. So that's that. Uh, there'll be a lot of things I will discuss later on, but I haven't had my coffee. I need some fruit, some good like honeydew and some cantaloupe and some coffee and maybe a good bagel. right? And by the way, those of you who are, uh, I know we have a few standbys, the bagels and all that, but could you guys recommend in the city or in the East Bay to a good bagel spot? I know a few places, Boy Chick. I don't want to risk, mortgaging the house to get a bagel. So just something that's decent. And don't give me, grocery store bagels. Just something where, maybe a cafe that's got bagels and things like that. Maybe good coffee. Let me know. And I appreciate you doing that for me. Look at this. I feel like I'm in a theater. It's huge. So I'm going to go enjoy the rest of the game. It's Wednesday. It's going to be fakakta hot. And I'm glad I have black on, by the way. Anyway, uh, so we will see you later. I will be posting something later on. And have a wonderful Wednesday. And thanks for watching.